Welcome to the Traffic Domination Podcast, where entrepreneurs come for traffic answers. And here are your hosts, Rob Reese and Wayne Crowe.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Rob Reese here, along with the host with the most, Wayne Crowe. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm wonderful, mate. What do you think of the background? I was trying to get one like yours, but it's not as cool as yours.
Listen, you know what? I absolutely love it. I love the green screen effect. I've actually got my green screen behind this camera. It's too small, though, for this little area, so I've got to figure something else out. But I love the green screen. It looks really good, man. The green shimmer around you is very minimal. Hopefully no one else sees it, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I love but yeah, how are things on your side of the pond?
Not bad, mate. It's been a bit of a tough week, but yeah, it's all good.
You know, you just finished releasing a new product. I'm getting ready to launch a new product. We're both busy.
Awesome.
We're both busy, and let me tell you, things are going to be crazy in my house for the next week and a half or so. My wife is leaving the country again for work, and I'm here with all 5 of my kids. So it's going to be crazy, but the reason why it's so awesome is because we do a business that allows us to work from home, and a lot of people don't even get to see success. But the number of people who actually start to see success, even if it's just very minimal, they get to a point of where they don't know what to do next. They don't know what to do next. And that's the episode that we're going to be on today. We're going to talk about when you start to see some success in your online business, what is the next thing that you should be concentrating on? Should you hire people? Should you maybe get a VA? Should you outsource some stuff? Should you start scaling up with more traffic? I mean, there's a number of considerations on what you can do. And I know you, Wayne, were just telling me about a particular situation and where people get stuck in this area and just don't know where to go next. So what I'd like for you to start off the show with is kind of telling us about the story of kind of starting and then getting to a point of where you're just like, I don't know what to do next. And what should people start to think about after that?
Yeah, awesome. And that fits in, like I said, I got someone in our coaching group who has kind of double his income in a month, which is phenomenal. He's now done very good, hitting very good figures. And all of a sudden, he's starting to ask all these questions. So how many staff do I have, all these things. So he's getting excited. And I think it's like, I see many people get to a point and they're kind of, what do I do now? Some of them start spending money and living a better lifestyle. But I'm not against that, but it's not what I try and teach. And that's not what I want people to do. I want them to learn to make money work for themselves, if that makes sense. So one of the first things that I do things differently maybe from everyone else. This is just my own process, but what I try and do is before I outsource anything to anyone, okay, let's say simple thing, email writing. The first thing you got to make sure is you know how to write emails, not just well, but very well. So you can outsource, you can set them into a process and outsource them to people, okay? Because if you can't train people something you don't know. All right, so one of the most important things is you've got to understand it yourself. Because what will happen is it's literally like at first, I don't know if you've read the book, The E-Myth.
I have not.
Now, one of my colleagues put me onto this book and it kind of changed the way, because I obviously have a lot of staff and it's hard to get people to do what you want without the proper training. So what I started doing was when I'm going through a daily task list or a task sheet, if you like, for this job, I'm actually turning it into a process so I can outsource it. Okay, so you start looking at you kind of start looking at what you're doing and turn it into process and say, right, if I do this daily, just this little process, just 3 hours long or 2 hours long, then you look to outsourcing it. And that's the kind of way. So one of the ways you can obviously do it is by outsourcing. You've got to make sure you've got the profits. You've got to make sure that you've got the process in place. You don't just take someone on and then you've got nothing to kind of give them. You know, you don't want to take someone on, you've got an hour's work. So you've got to make sure you've got enough of work for them. You've got to make sure the profit's there to pay them. With that spare time that you gain, you've got to make sure that you've got a way to increase profits. All right, so you don't want to just create spare time. This is me personally. Some people will create spare time and they might, you know, go on holiday for X amount of time or have that 3 hours a day off. But then the perfect thing to do is, before you even take the person on, what are you going to do with that extra time? Okay. What you find over time is your brain starts thinking slightly differently. And before you even start a new task, this is what I do now. I'm starting a new mini business, as I call them, this new niche this week. The first thing I do is outsource it, literally from the beginning. How can I outsource this from the beginning? Is there going to be the money in there? Is it something I can create a process around? Am I going to be able to find the right people for this? I ask myself all those kind of questions. Okay, and then when you do that, you got to think to yourself, right, in this niche, how deep can I go? Okay, and the perfect thing is, when I'm list building, and when I've got a team in list building, for example, you have to think, how deep can I take this into different niches? Can I do more sends per day? Can I take on more traffic sources? You got to think all these things. So that little niche you've got, or that little sub business you've got, can you build it deeper? And then when I start another business, I look at it and think, right, have I got to build this team first, make sure that's self-sufficient, or do I look at a new niche and start that and build that? How big can I build that business? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, you're really putting a lot of focus on realigning your funds and making your funds be able to work for you instead of against you, so that you can kind of let it become self-sufficient.
Exactly. That's such a big thing that I learned is, you know, you could, let's say you're making $10,000 a month. That seems like a lot of money. But not many people need, I mean, not in the UK, not many people need that money to live. Okay, so what I try and teach people and tell people to do is keep the same lifestyle. I mean, I can live on probably $2,000 or $3,000 a month comfortably. Keep the same lifestyle, and the rest of the money invest elsewhere. Get that money to work for you. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I'm looking at gold at the minute. I'm looking at investing into gold. Strangely enough, never thought I'd do that. I've done cryptocurrencies, I've done everything. The next thing is gold that I'm going to be looking at. And I understand how that can work for you, how that can pay, you know, how that can, as a store of value. But when you start a business, I want it to grow. I think the average for gold is something like 10% return per year. Obviously, when you start a business, I want much more than that. Okay, so you're literally creating all these sub businesses, and you've got to learn the skills to create these sub businesses.
Now, Now, when it comes to that point of where you're trying to create a sub business, how long should somebody take in order to get this one up and going? Or really it just depends on the type of business that you're trying to develop?
Again, this comes with the skills you learn. So once you've been in business a while, the longer you're in business, the more skills you learn. You have to keep pushing yourself and learn and developing these new skills. One of the skills I learned when I owned an e-commerce business 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, however long it was, my business partner was a chartered accountant. He taught me cash flow forecast, and he taught me everything I need to know about finances. One of the first things I do is sit on this whiteboard, and we've talked about it many times now, I have, and I project what I think should happen. Okay, and I look at a time frame of how long I think that will take to return. And all the staff that work for me, they understand these timelines, and they understand the projections. They understand what records to keep, so I can analyze them. And I can look at one sheet, I can look at one overall sheet and think, right, we're on target. Then we look at that target and we say, right, we'll give ourselves 2 months. My time frames are actually really short most of the time, unless it's a big project like building Traffic Domination. for example.
Sure.
That's completely alien to me when I started it. So that's a very different beast to traffic. So we say, right, what are our targets? What are our profit targets? What staff will we need? I'm now in the process of getting probably 2 more staff. One for a business that is already running, another for a business that I'm now about to start. And you kind of decide, you're saying 2 months, let's see where we're at. And then if you reach that goal, that means in 6 months you should be here. And if you're not at that goal in 2 months, you say, right, what can we do to make it, in a month, what can we do to make it fit those goals, and to make sure we're going to be where we want to be in 6 months. If you can't, or things don't look too good, you say, right, what do we do? Do we drop it and look at other ways, or do we can we make it actually work? You look at all those figures. So it's all in the plan. And I literally I get the camera, get on the whiteboard and plan everything out and say that based on what we know, our experience, what we've researched, this is kind of what we should be looking at. So in 2 months, we should be making $5,000 profit. And we've just done a business that's probably 5-6 months old. And it's kind of hitting the targets we want to see. And when you think about it, 6 months may seem like a long time, or 2 months. This was making profit in 2 to 3 months. May seem like a long time, but when you think a real business can take 3 years, you've got to have all that investment. So it's actually a really fast way to get things going. And then with the team you took on, it depends. I mean, you've got all sorts that come in, the business agreements that come into it. You've got all sorts of things that come into that whole nutshell. But then it's pretty much already outsourced from the very beginning, is the kind of way I'd get to do it. So luckily, this was to do with pay-per-click. I knew pay-per-click. I knew what to expect. So it was nice and easily to kind of forecast.
So yeah, no. So well, I mean, you're giving us a lot to chew on here, and what I want our listeners to recognize is a couple of things. First and foremost, I know that some of you are probably used to seeing all of these really crazy headlines, get going and seeing $10,000 in 2 weeks or in a month or whatever. And if you're coming from nothing and you've been trying to build a singular business, let alone a side business, and you're not seeing that, get that out of your mind, because those promises sound great, but they're really mostly a pipe dream. So especially when it comes to developing an online business in the fashion in that we're talking about, I know that a lot of folks out here have been to Warrior Plus, JVZoo, have seen all of these great headlines, and yet 3-4 years down the road, they still don't even have a single business. And I want you guys to look at really quick the people that put out those types of products, and being able to see exactly that these people that are putting out those products didn't even build a business overnight. So first and foremost, you've got to have your first business seeing regular profits. And that's what we're kind of talking about today, is once you've seen those regular profits come in, and now you're like, okay, where do I go from here? I'm comfortable making some of the money that you're making now, and you want to diversify your assets, and maybe you want to increase your current business. Now, Wayne, that's something I also wanted to talk about. What if they just wanted to scale up on the very business that is showing them the profits right now? What are some of the things they can think about doing in order to help improve what they're already doing?
That's a good question. So let's talk about this student, because it's a very specific kind of niche. So for him, the perfect thing to do, he's got a handle on all his figures, which is fantastic. So one of the ways would be optimize what you already got. Okay, so where can you increase profits just by spending a bit extra money? Where can you optimize to get a better return out of things? And really look at the figures that you're producing. The next way is, like we talked about earlier, if you're making $10,000 profit, for example, let's say, and you can outsource 8 hours work a day for $400, $500, depending what the work is, then you do it. But with the 8 hours that you've then got spare, you've got to work out how do you build that business further. Can you, for example, build it, can you do the same thing over and over again to create more money? Or can you build a bigger audience? It's very business dependent on how you kind of grow it. Like, how do you grow a product creation business? Instead of releasing one every 6 months, you release one every 2 weeks. And that's what kind of how the business has gone. Mine's going to be once every lifetime, I think. But so one of the best ways, and this is one of the ones that always scared me the most, is by taking on assistants. And I think you said earlier you've got a fantastic one. A good one's actually quite hard to find, and a lot of time it actually comes down to the training that they receive, whether they are good or they're bad. And that's one thing I realised fairly early on when I started employing people properly.
So when it comes to wanting to scale up your business, now you're talking about delegating some of the tasks that you have on your plate and giving them to someone else in order to kind of free up your time. And this way you can go ahead and concentrate on other areas of the business you'd like to see improved, whether that is maybe, you're engaged in just traditional affiliate marketing, doing email marketing, and now you want to implement video. Now you actually have some time to invest in maybe some production value. So you're going to set up a nice little studio in your home office, or rent a place with some of the profits that you've been pulling in each and every month. These are things that I've actually seen in the process occur with those who are absolutely successful in this space. So it's really nice to see the congruency with what you're saying and what I've been seeing in the marketplace as it's been playing out over the last, almost 3 years that I've been in this business. So, so absolutely, guys. So consider this, guys. Okay. So there's a couple of things. First and foremost, you need to be focused on your business, so much so that you're seeing profits first and foremost. Second, you want to be able to open up some of your assets and delegating it somewhere else for investments. That way you're seeing your money really work for you. One of the best adages that I've ever heard, and I still hold it to close to my body, is don't work for money, make money work for you, because this is going to be the easiest money you'll get. Now, just to give you guys an example of this, right? I put in some work months ago. I used to work with a very big investment, young investor. The guy's a millionaire, and he used to be my boss at an old job. And he loved my cold calling skills. He thought I was like amazing at it. So he called me months ago. I haven't worked for him for years. And he said, "Hey, Rob, I've got an opportunity for you. Let's talk about this. This is what I want you to do. Contact small businesses that are publicly traded and let them know, hey, listen, we've got money to make your company kind of blow up in the stocks. Let us do marketing for you, and we'll make sure that your stocks go up." Now what he's talking about is really getting discounted stocks from publicly traded companies that are on the penny markets. So instead of paying a penny, we would pay maybe a quarter of a penny per stock. And in return, he would leverage his contacts in the industry to say, hey, listen, this is a really cool stock. You should check it out. This is kind of what they do. And what I did is I contacted a private jet company, and not private anymore. They're publicly traded now. And what they do is kind of like Netflix for jets. So if you're a rich guy and you want to kind of have an access to a fleet of jets, anywhere in the world, you pay a yearly fee, and you can have access to 35,000 different jets around the world. And what I did was I called this guy. He's out of New York, and I said, hey, listen, we've got some money for you that'll help increase your stock. Great, let's meet up. And the deal went through. Now what is happening is by the end of February, March of 2019, we're going to be able to cash in on our stocks. The stocks we bought in at under a penny a stock, and now it's at like 70 cents a stock.
Wow.
A share. So we bought a million plus, and we're going to be able to cash that in.
That's awesome.
So let your money work for you, right? This is an example outside of the internet marketing space, but it's an example of making your money work for you guys, because this is going to be the easiest money you'll ever make, ever.
As an example, I just thought I'd run through a typical like morning for me. Every morning for me, I literally get on the phone with each team and see where we're at with targets from the day before, what goals we had, what jobs we had done, what jobs we've got on for today, so we can always work towards the end goal. So I literally have a spreadsheet, and it literally tells me how close we are to recouping the money I invested, and where the break-even point is. And once that's done, it's kind of right. When it's at break-even, so I got one business at this stage, and I say to the guy, right, how do we make this bigger? And he says, I need a member of staff. And I now know, because he's kind of built the business, he's got the skills to teach someone under him. We've got more stuff we can give him. And then we talk about that each day. And the same in another business, right? In this other business, I've got 4 people working it. You say, right, what are we doing today? You've got one person managing it, and you add as the business get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how I see my money work for myself, is literally that process.
This is absolute just gold. This is like finding oil in your backyard, Wayne, because a lot of people don't talk about this as much as I love this industry. These are the things that literally no one talks about it, let alone speaking about it on a podcast. This is typically something that you would get on personal coaching at the $20,000-$30,000 level, paying these gurus to help you with it, when in fact this is the meat and the bones of running a successful business, whether online or offline. You've got to know these things. You got to be able to track with these things, and you got to be able to know where you're going with these things. Guys, I want to take this as an opportunity to tell you, not only should you be subscribed to the Traffic Domination podcast on all of our various social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, even on iTunes and all of the other podcast catchers, but you guys need to schedule your free coaching session with Wayne here, because you're going to get stuff just like this tailored specifically for you in a 1-hour call. It's a 1-hour call, right?
It's generally half an hour, but as long as it is needed, just to look at someone's kind of business and tell them, hey,
guys, he's going to look at your business. He's going to show you where the holes are. He's going to show you how to move to the next level. And especially if you're already seeing success, this is something that you want to take advantage of, because Wayne has the vision that most people are blinded with, okay? It's absolutely incredible. Go ahead and click the link in the description below for that call. It is absolutely free to you guys. Also, guys, make sure you are downloading the free solo ad guide that we have available for you. Just go ahead and click that link in the bottom there. You're going to find out all sorts of incredible details about purchasing traffic using solo ads, things that other vendors don't want you to know. They don't want you to know these things. All right, guys. Now, Wayne, do you have anything else that you want to share with these beautiful people here in the interwebs?
Yeah, in the interwebs. Not really. It's just this is the process that's worked for me. It's something I've learned. I've never kind of had a coach in this, but after running a number of failed and successful businesses, it's kind of the process I've now found works. So, it's a case of just keep learning all the time. I think constantly seek out how you learn more, how you think differently, how you think bigger, and work on the mindset, because the mindset is such a massive thing and so underrated. You can tell the people who really work on their mindset because it shows.
Excellent. That's right. Keep your mind fed with the good stuff, and your body and the reality will follow. I'm telling you guys, it is absolutely true. Keep going, keep pushing, keep moving forward, guys. Never ever stop, but stop when you start to see things fail and recoup, revamp, change it up until you see that success, guys. Thank you so much once again for checking out the Traffic Domination podcast. Follow us on social media at facebook.com/traffic domination. Also, feel free to join our free Facebook group, the Traffic Domination. What is it called again, Wayne?
It's called some online marketing by Traffic Domination. We'll probably change the name soon.
There we go. Online Traffic Domination, online training by Traffic Domination. So, guys, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button on iTunes or whatever other podcast catcher you're doing it in order to stay up to date with all of our episodes. Make sure you check out our previous ones if you're a brand new listener. And, of course, go ahead and make sure you get that free gift by clicking the link in the description below. But until next time, guys, I am Rob Reese, the king of social, and this is your main host, Wayne, the man Crowe.
Thanks for listening, guys.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.